Hello, my name is Will Westwater. I am an actor in Los Angeles. I'm with SAG-AFTRA, the union. I'm here to answer Hannah's questions, so let's get into it. All right, so the first question, how long have I been acting? I have been acting since I was in 4th grade. And yeah, I pretty much just did every single school play that I could, all the way through middle school, high school, and then into college. And I studied theater and graduated about 4 years ago now. I've just been auditioning as much as I can, and I made a YouTube channel, so I do that as well. But yeah, that's how long I've been acting. What made me want to pursue this career was I really had a great time with just being on stage. From that first play all the way up through now, every time I get a chance to perform, I have so much fun, and it is absolutely where I belong. So I've just been chasing that feeling for years. Has this career choice been hard in the past, and if so, how? I think this career choice is tough for a lot of reasons. In the past, I think people will really want to put down the idea of being an artist because it's really tough and because it's not financially viable. And those two things are very legitimate reasons for people to give you a lot of crap for trying to be an actor. But if you're willing to put up with that and willing to be said no to all the time, then this career might be for you. Have I been to many auditions? Yes, I have been to many auditions. Probably at this point, hundreds. But I audition anywhere from 2 to 4 times a week. Some of those are voiceover, which I'll do either here or at my voiceover agent's place, or they're on camera, in which case I'm either sending a self-tape or I am driving to a location and actually doing castings there. But yeah, you will do hundreds and hundreds of auditions if you're an actor, which means hundreds and hundreds of times to get something prepared, get ready, try to memorize some lines, or sometimes you don't have to in voiceover's case, but driving places, investing your time and your energy into basically interviewing for a job over and over and over again. It's really hard in the beginning, and it will always be hard. However, I do think that as you book more, things do get a little easier and you do get better at auditioning. So yes, I have auditioned a lot. Do you feel that being rejected can take a toll on upcoming actors? I think that yes, it's really hard for people, especially when you're starting out. I mean, I feel like I am far more a realistic person and I have a little bit more of a chip on my shoulder now that I've auditioned and been rejected as many times as I have. But what I will also say is that it builds your conviction, and that with each audition you get a little stronger, you get a little better at doing this, and you have a little bit more oomph behind saying the words, I'm an actor, because you're actually like, yeah, I am an actor. I spend my time doing this. I've done this hundreds of times and I'm here to help. How can I help you? That's kind of, you build up this spine because of being rejected so many times. And I also think it helps you find who you are, because the jobs that you book, the opportunities that you do get, and the people that say yes to you can kind of help you realize what exactly it is you bring to the table that no one else can. So it is a crucible. It will, if you can survive the crucible, you will be better on the other side for it. But it is really hard for a lot of actors everywhere. I mean, it's still, if I haven't done a project in a long time, or if I haven't booked anything in a long time, I get very antsy and it's very hard. But I would say I would rather be auditioning and getting rejected than not auditioning at all. Number 6, do I think that method acting can be dangerous? I think that, yeah, I don't hear about a lot of people doing a bunch of method acting now. I feel like that was kind of, it's almost this like method acting. Did you hear that Jared Leto had to send this, rats to his castmates to be the Joker? Like, I think that you should be able to turn it on and off, but that's just my point of view. I do think that at least living and trying to experience other things, that aspect of method acting I respect and I think is very important. However, I also think it should be in your imagination and it shouldn't bleed as much into your real life. So yeah, there's that. I think you should just be able to believe in the fiction and mean what you say and take it personally, and everything else will follow. So yeah, I think that method acting, if it gets in the way of you being a professional, is a problem. But if it works for you, then great. Just so long as you're on time and you're professional, then I think you'll work a lot. So it's kind of to each their own. But I'm not as much of a method actor. Can acting affect a person's identity? I think being rejected so many times and then being told yes every so often, it can create kind of a bubble of seeking other people's approval of yourself. So if you can try to keep your own approval of yourself as number one, as if you can live with yourself, that's the best thing, and try to not care about what other people think so much, then you will be affected positively. However, if you let other people's opinions of you or being rejected so many times get to you, then it can definitely negatively affect your life. But I don't think playing other people affects your life negatively. I don't find myself playing that villain I once used to be. Rather, I actually find myself exposed to a different way of thinking, or maybe trying to see from another person's perspective, and that kind of helps. So either way, so you can be affected positively and negatively by acting. It's just a matter of you taking care of yourself and making sure that you're affected in the right ways, and really kind of digesting how it is you react to things that happen to you, because there is so much that is out of your control. Have you or anyone you know emotionally suffered from a role? I don't think so. There's nothing that comes to mind about someone who I know personally who suffered from a role. I think sometimes acting can get a little intense, and that's just kind of par for the course, but I think of it as more healing than anything else. That it's kind of a chance to escape and run away and experience something else that you can experience safely, and that you can always come back to reality, and that's important. So I don't really know of anybody who's had a really tough time with the emotionally suffering from a role. I think emotionally suffering from a role would be something after the fact. I think it would be if you're in something that now that's all people identify you as, that could be probably pretty tough, but there's no one that I know personally. Number 9, have those around you always supported your acting career? Well, that's a funny question, because I think I have been surrounded by a lot of people who do support it, and they really do believe in me, and that's really important. I think if your core group of people around you believe in you, it is so much more helpful than hurtful. However, I also think there are ways that people don't believe in you, and they show it in ways that I don't think they think is bad, but sometimes it is unintentional, and I think they are coming from a perspective of caring about you most of the time if they're close to you. Sorry about that helicopter. But yeah, so I think those around me have, I've actually been very lucky with a lot of the people around me supporting my acting career. And I think there are times where they think that they're acting in my best interest, but they don't really understand the business as well as I do at this point. And while I value their opinion, I don't have to always listen to them. And I know that they're just trying to help me out. So I do feel supported, even when, sometimes a family member or a friend has a lapse of judgment in my eyes. So yeah, you got to roll with the punches. And I think at this point, they kind of know this is who I am, and I'm not changing. So yeah, I think they have to deal with it. What is the best piece of advice you'd give to people wanting to become an actor? I would say, and this is speaking as someone who, like, my acting career, I feel like is just getting started, but it's just starting to actually hit, and I'm starting to actually book roles that I've wanted, and I'm still hustling. I think it is a lot more work, and in a lot different ways than you'd expect. I think you need to have patience if you want to be an actor. If you want to be an actor, you need to be working on your craft in some way just about every day. and you need to try to experience things from other people's point of view. You need to do as many plays as you can. You need to read. You need to watch TV that you love. You need to watch movies that you love. You need to find out why you love them so much. You need to be moved by stories and willing to go places and try to experience points of view that you may disagree with. You're going to need to work on memorizing lines and speaking well and being able to change and being able to take direction, which is super important. So there's no one thing other than just, I need people to understand. There's no one thing other than I just think people would really benefit from patience and knowing that it is a lot of work to try to become an actor, and that your vision of what your success might be is going to change constantly because you have no idea how your career is going to turn out, and so much of it is outside of your hands that you have to make sure that the things that you can control are in control. And I think just be ready for the long haul and just don't take things too personally, because people are they're doing their projects, and if you fit their project, great, and it works. And if you don't fit their project, you still may be a great actor, and just be patient. Don't worry, your role will come. Find yourself, be yourself. No one hires Danny DeVito to be anybody but Danny DeVito, and nobody hires Matthew McConaughey to be anybody but Matthew McConaughey. So you need to figure out what it is you bring to the table, and I think the only way to find that out is just to be told no to for years and years and years, and then a couple yeses, and then working on yourself to get to a point where you know what you bring to the table and you are proud of it and you are ready to go and you're confident, and that just takes time and practice. So I would say be patient and just have a ton of fun, because at the end of the day, we are in the business of making, fun things, and that takes a lot of work, but it's really well worth the time. And I don't know, I think I moved here knowing nobody, and now I have connections that have helped me with things, and I think it is possible for people to break into it, but I do think that the time aspect is what people need to keep in mind, is that if you really want to make this a career, you have to be willing to do this for at least 5 years, I think. This is something where very rarely do people just jump in and book a bunch of stuff and keep working. This is a long haul job. So if you're willing to do that, it could be good. So anyway, that's pretty much it. I hope that answers all of your questions, Hannah, and thank you for your time, everybody, and I hope this helps. Cheers. Have a good winter break.